Consulting is running a series of podcasts during which we speak with some of the UK's most respected and successful people. Today we are talking with John Conteh, former WBC light heavyweight boxing champion. Hello John, thank you for joining us today.
Hi Sam, yeah, it's great to be here.
So you've enjoyed a successful career in the boxing ring. Can you please share a few of your highlights?
I started boxing when I was 11 years of age in Liverpool, in Kirby. Well, I was born in Toxteth. In 51, I left in 55 for the new town, Kirby, about 12 miles north of Liverpool. And my dad started to teach me to box when I was 11 years of age. He wasn't a boxer himself, but he liked boxing. His job was a welder in Kirby. And big family, 8 boys, 2 girls. So he had 10 children, and I was the 4th eldest. I was 11 years of age, like I said. He was teaching me actually about a year before that, a few little moves. Then when I started getting good, he took me down to Kirby Amateur Boxing Club, which was just, at that time, it was just outside of Kirby. It was in an old disused RAF camp called RAF for Zachary. Funny name, but just outside, a couple of miles outside of Kirby. And there I met Charlie Atkinson and Tucker Edrinson, Tommy Singleton, and they were great trainers. And took from there. About a year later, 2 years later, we got our own brand new stadium in Kirby. So we moved from the old disused RAF camp into Kirby. So that would have been about 1963. Shall I keep on going?
Yeah, no, you go for it. Please share.
Sound like an egomaniac even going on, uninterrupted.
Not at all, not at all.
Yeah, 11 years of age, and then I wasn't doing much until I didn't do a lot as a junior or as a schoolboy, not successfully anyway. And it wasn't until I was defeated in the junior ABA championships in 1968 down here in the finals in Basildon in Essex, I actually took it seriously. Because I got beat, I came back and I thought, well, I was at a bit of a crossroads, and I thought, well, could I have committed myself more to this? And I thought, yes. I said, well, if I'm going to go forward, I'll really commit myself to it. And I made the decision to go forward and totally committed myself to it. So then I won a couple of ABA titles in 1970 and 71, middleweight and light heavyweight. And also in 1970, I went up to Edinburgh and represented England in the Commonwealth Games. I got a gold medal there. I came back and went to the European Championships. Didn't do very well there, and I came back. And then I was getting offers of money to turn pro, to come down to London and turn professional. So I took up the offer, which was a year before the Olympics. And it was such a good offer, I thought I'd take the money, come down and go on the professional career. And so I signed up with George Francis, and I was living in Highgate. The gym was in Hampstead, but I used to live in Highgate. I used to run over the Highgate, Parliament Hill Fields, Hampstead Heath, basically, in the morning, and then in the afternoon in the gymnasium in Haverstock Hill, in an old disused, in a pub called the Load of Hay. It was originally called, but when Sir Henry Cooper went there, he trained over there in the 60s, and they changed it to the Noble Art. This is a reference to the boxing. And that's where I started my professional career, in that gymnasium in 1971. And I went on with George's training and help, to win the British, Commonwealth, European and World Championships in 1973 and 74. In 73, I boxed Chris Finnegan for the British and Commonwealth Championships. A couple of months before that, I boxed first of all, got the European Championship against a guy from Germany, Rudi Schmicker. And then we had 3 titles then after I boxed Chris. And then I went on to fight Giorgio Mahoghe from Argentina at the Empire Pool Wembley, which is now the Wembley Arena. And over 15 rounds, it was 15 rounds and not 12. I won on a unanimous points decision.
Wow.
I think I'll have a little break now.
There's quite a few highlights there.
Yeah, I don't know where to stop. I thought, usually you're waiting for the interviewer to ask you another question type of thing in between the breaks.
I've got another one if you're ready for it.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Liverpool?
Well, we was a big family, like I said, and we were poor, like everybody else around us. And my dad always worked. He was a welder. My mother as well was looking after us all. She had her hands full. 10 children, and it was tough, and but we got by somehow. We always seemed to get by, and that was it. So, which is a good background certainly for me, as I understood it, was the hunger. The hunger as a boxer.
Yeah.
You're hungry. You're desperate, and you want to make. I was doing athletics at school, and I was doing football at school, and some of the lads I was playing with went on to the professional career. Like Terry McDermott. I used to play with Terry, who played for Liverpool, Newcastle, and England, and he went on to do his trade through football. And I had a toss-up between, was it going to be football or athletics or boxing, and I chose to commit myself to boxing.
What qualities do you think enabled you to be a successful boxer?
Well, it was just honestly looking at what you're going into. What is it you're going into? Do you know what it demands? And do you know what you have to do to respond to those demands, to fulfill your potential, whatever that is, and can you give 100%? And all those, I said, yeah, I could do that. I know what I was going into, make the decision, and they give it 100%. It was your life, it was your trade, your life. So it was like each 24 hours a day then, eat, sleep and drink it, although you're only training twice a day, but you're totally committed to it. And then on the night of the fight, when the build up to the training with your trainer and all that, learning all your moves and one thing and another, preparation. And then on the night of the fight, just letting it go, round by round. You don't have to think, well, I've got to do 15 rounds. You say, no, yeah, they only come one round at a time. So give it everything you've got within that round, and you're fit enough. That's where I used to train. Georgie Francis, my manager, used to say, most fights are won and lost on the training ground. And I found that true. So I used to practice on the training ground mentally, as if I was running up a hill or running with another. We used to have a pack of boxers with us in the morning, running with other great fighters, Bunny Steele and Bunny Johnson. They were great fighters. Pat McCann, these are called British champions and European champions, great fighters. But we'd all racing against each other in the morning. We used to wear boots, Doc Marten boots type of thing, and little weights in the hand, just to make it harder. And you're always in their mind, you're always thinking it's the fighter pushing you in the ring on the night, and if you got the endurance. And that's what I used to train. That's what I used to train for.
And is there anything that you wish you'd known when you first began your career?
No, I find that a difficult question. I was thinking about it before when you sent the questions to me, and that was one of them. And it's a funny one because you can answer in all kinds of different ways, can't you?
Yeah.
Technically, I don't know, academically, studying it, spiritually, overview the whole thing, And you'd say, would you do anything different? I would think, well, how far back do you want to go? Before you were born? Because it covers all that, certain areas of like spirituality or religion or belief and all that covers all that, doesn't it? Before you were born.
Yeah.
And could I ask the same question to my mother and my father, type of thing, or whatever? And I'm sure, yeah, you'd say, yes, obviously I'd do this and I'd do that, but then you think, well, hang on, what's the motive behind it? The deep motive is that, well, if you do that, to do what? What do you mean? So you get all those things right then on the exam paper, whatever it is, exactly perfect. Yeah, and then what? Is that it then? You've got it covered for life. No? Life's bigger than that. It's going to throw things at you. Going to make mistakes. And obviously, I think when you look back, even as I'm talking now, you learn things, and or you hopefully you do, and you can dialogue it like I'm dialoguing it with you now, so it comes into the realm as a dialogue of life, Saying, well, what do you think about that? You're saying, well, would I have changed anything overall? This moment right now, no. Because it couldn't have been changed from one point I'm coming from. It couldn't have been changed, and obviously, if I go back and say, could I change you? It practically, yes, you can do different things. But I did different things then. I changed things then. Like I made losses, I had losses, defeats, came back, crossroads, had a thought, could I change this? Yes. And that's it. So you've done the best you could, at that time. And that's it now. I've gone into, I forgot what I was going to say.
It was a very good answer.
Once you start going into that, I start going into the deep stuff, that's it. I get lost, I need caving equipment.
What advice would you give to someone starting their professional boxing career now?
Well, the same thing as I've just said, totally commit yourself to it, totally dedicated. If you've got the talent as well, then it's up to you. It's a mental thing, as you want to commit yourself to it totally. You know what you're going into, you know what's going to demand. And then you've got the tools and the talent to deal with that. Then it's just the mind. It's a bit like a Formula One car, I always think. It won't let you down, type of thing. The mechanics won't let you down. It's fantastic, you're the driver. It's you, your mind. You're like the CEO of the company, type of thing. It's you who's going to direct it, and you're fit enough to do that, and you've got all the tools and the people behind you to back all that up. And just give it. And so preparation, like my trainer said, most fights are won and lost on the training ground. So preparation is like the fuel for the car, really, like the Formula One car, I was saying. It's full up to the tank. It won't let you down if you're prepared. And it's a bit funny because you have stops, and to refuel in the Formula One. Whereas in the boxing, when you don't get refueled, you've got to have the tanks there for the whole fight, whether it be 12 rounds or 15 rounds, as it was then, and you get your breaks are as in between rounds, you just sit down. It's not a refuel to get fitter, for the thing to go. You should have already prepared for that before you got in there. So totally honest with yourself, commit yourself to it and enjoy it then. You've made your decision and give yourself a time limit, let's say, or a time frame of 3 years. I'd say, well, I'll give when I came mid-10 pro, I thought I'd give it 3 years and see how far I get with that mindset as just described. And let's see. And like I said, he had 24 hours a day, eat, sleep and drink. If it didn't tally up as boxing, I went in one ear and out the other. That's the same I would anyone else giving it to anybody else.
And what did you get up to when you ended your boxing career?
Well, I'm married. We have 2 children with Veronica. We've been married now since 1940. 41, nearly 50. 79. 41 years. Yeah, we've been married. We got married and we met in 74 when I won the world title. So we've been together 46 years. Our children are 43 and 42. We've got 2 grandchildren, 7 twins. My daughter's got, So we're totally committed to that's fantastic. The family, and they only live 3 doors away as well, my daughter.
Yeah, really?
That's good, yeah. And and then out after the boxing, sort of, you lose your way a little bit, up and down, different reasons, and then you find it, or whatever, and you had to make a decision to stay on the sort of right path, so to speak. And then, I do bit of advertising, bit of filming. I got an equity card on a film in the past, and I was on Blood Brothers, Willie Russell's musical Blood Brothers. So I've got experience, a bit of acting, and that. I've done that for a long time. So, and then I do after dinner speaking. I've done for the last 25 years or so, on the circuit there, on the after dinner circuit, and which is great. And then I'm involved with a golf a lot. My son's a golfer. I got him into the golf at 7 years of age. when I started to take it up, so because it was so complicated. And I thought, I know the trick, you got to get in early, I suppose, like anything, like with me, with boxing and all that. So that was a really good goal for you. And I do a lot of charity golf with the Variety Club, Sparks, different individual charities. Played yesterday for Sparks.
How did you get?
We played yesterday for Variety Club, actually, not Sparks. Because Sparks have joined Great Ormond Street now the last 3 years, so we don't have as many golf days, which is obviously it's probably whatever suits Great Ormond Street. The charity is great, you know, it must be the best thing. But we've got all kinds of other different charities as well. But Variety Club's the big one. We do about 20 of them a year for the Sunshine Coaches. So you just didn't, you know what I mean, the answer to the question, you're looking back historically trying to give you the answers to what I've been doing. And then right up to right now, it's just when things come in from day to day, and you let your family in just like everybody else, just keep getting on with it.
What do you do to relax nowadays?
Well, the golf.
The golf, yeah.
Yeah, play the golf and play with my grandchildren. It's fantastic, you know, it's a great buzz. And I do crosswords. I do the Times and the Telegraph crossword, right? Which is true in a way, but what I do, I just look for the answers, the cryptics. Crossword. I just look at the answers. It's so confusing. So and then I try to learn why it's so confusing, and then I get an idea of it. You keep doing it. 90% I just put the answers in, you know. But you try and learn from the answers. Why that's an answer. And you get on with it, like, you know. It's good. I started off with other sorts of easier crosswords, and but they were sort of wanted something more challenging. So I think I'll have to get myself a bowl of art and one of those briefcases, start going into the city with the Times on me.
It's difficult to get away from the subject of COVID-19. How do you think it's going to affect taking part and watching sport in the future?
Well, yeah, it is. It already has, hasn't it? It's already affected it across. But people are dealing with it. The people who are in the mechanics, the professionals, or whatever it is, who can handle these in each different area. That's what I'm getting across from the television, including the politicians, the medical, the science, to give you the information and all that. But so I just take direction from them. Then it's just common sense, isn't it? Try and keep your distance and take direction from. It's a bit like me. I go back to the corner. I was related to the boxing. It's easy for me. Go back to the corner and you just take direction from them. You don't listen to anything, your own stuff. You know, you go back and they see things. Like your corner people can see things that you can't see. Openings, and also openings to beat your opponent, to attack, let's say, and also openings that you're open where you can be attacked, type of stuff. You know, so when they can see that more than you can, and then you go back to the corner and you got a minute to give you the information, take it in, go back and do your job. I think it's the same thing with this, you know, take the information from the professionals, and then you do, you know, just a common sense thing.
Thank you very much. I think that was all of our questions.
Great, Sam, yeah, thanks.